Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your 7 AM dose of Chelsea news. If you are not yet subscribed to GBFC, now is the time to do so. Tomorrow, I'm leaving this lovely house that I've been in for the last sort of 10 or 11 days or so, and we're going to be starting to head towards Atlanta. I'm excited. Chelsea versus LAFC in the opening game of the Club World Cup for us. Today, we're going to go through all of the news. The window opens in 4 days' time, and there's a lot of discussions right now about what Chelsea are going to do. Are we going to go back in for Mike Maignan? Are we going back in for Jamie Gittens? Do we still want another striker? Have we got our attentions elsewhere? In this video today, I'm going to be using one source to go through everything because there's so much going on right now. There's so many different briefs happening. So I want to remind you guys who watch these videos, I just give my opinions on what is said. I don't come out with my own stories. I push my own narratives, such as I want Chelsea to sign Victor Osimhen. That's what I think's best for the club. So that's what I push. That's what I say on my channel. So I just give my thoughts and my opinions on things. But let's go through it all today, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below. Let's begin. Mike Penders will wear the number 39 shirt for Chelsea. Some might not think that this is that important, but he's been given a shirt number before the Club World Cup starts, before the season starts, and Mike Penders is in the Chelsea Club World Cup squad. So I think Maresca is going to get a good look at him during this tournament, whether it is just in training, whether he actually gets any minutes or not. We obviously know we don't have Petrovic in the Club World Cup squad, so maybe if you're old enough to be in the squad, then maybe you're old enough to start. Mike Penders, I don't have crazy expectations because I try not to when the players are that young. But who knows? Let's see how he does during the tournament. This is now from Dortmund director Sebastian Kehl. In the end, we didn't come to an agreement on Jamie Gittens because we have different ideas about the player's current value. But the talks were very, very respectful. We've been in very good dialogue with Chelsea for many years. And yet we have a different point of view and are happy that Jamie will now be part of our team at the Club World Cup and are delighted that he's staying. I'm not responsible for the late offer, but of course I still have to deal with it, and that's what we've done. Let's see how things develop in the future. This is from Nizarkin Seller, and it's been tweeted here by CFC Pice. So, Chelsea going back in for Jamie Gittens. We know that come the end of the negotiations on the so-called mini deadline day, Borussia Dortmund skyrocketed the price, and I think rightly so. Chelsea didn't want to match the price. Chelsea weren't willing to go to the 70 million euro price that Dortmund put on Jamie Gittens. Jamie Gittens was then seen driving away from the Dortmund training ground very quickly, clearly not too happy that negotiations with the club that he'd agreed a 7-year deal with, personal terms, hadn't gone through. So I think Jamie Gittens is also looking at this. He's been announced in the Dortmund squad. He'll be playing for them at the Club World Cup. It'll be interesting to see mentally how he either checks in or checks out right now, because he's either going to double down and be like, look, I've got my own agendas, I've got my own teams that I want to be signing for, so I want to prove to them that if my selling club, Borussia Dortmund, are going to command these ridiculously high fees, then I want to make sure that Chelsea pay it. So I think we're going to see Gittens go for it at the Club World Cup, and that is even if he gets minutes. Let's move now. Dario Isugo has taken Joao Felix's 14 shirt for next season. Isugo is one of those players that, as much as we might have spent a couple of days talking about disappointments, I think Dario Isugo is actually a player I'm quite looking forward to in terms of what we know about his personality. He's quite fiery. He likes to get stuck in. When he doesn't have the ball, we need the ball. All he wants to do is focus on trying to get the ball back, which we've got a lot of players that are already like that. And I think Isugo will be, this season, one of those players that will probably feature in Carabao Cup. If we need to see a game out, maybe he comes on then. But I think Chelsea's midfield, if there is one position that I think we are absolutely stacked and more than fine in, it is certainly the central midfield position. Esugo will take the number 14 shirt. Let's move now into this. Chelsea and Arsenal have started making some calls for Jorrel Hatto. This comes from Fabrizio Romano. Hatto is, of course, a left-sided defender, can play at left-back, can also play as a left centre-back. I think the versatility is something that Chelsea are obviously very fond of. And even with this whole Club World Cup thing and not taking Renato Vega, lots of people I've seen on the timeline don't really care that we've not taken Vega because, well, you shouldn't have tried to leave the club in January when we clearly still needed you because you think you're a big deal. That's kind of what happened with Vega, and I totally see that. I can understand why fans wouldn't be so bothered that Vega isn't in the squad. For me, I'm just really concerned that something happens to Marc Cucurella because last season, Chelsea played a hell of a lot of football. I think because it was the Conference League, it maybe goes under the radar just how many games some of our players were forced to play last season. Cucurella being one of those massively in question and Cole Palmer the other one. We're going to talk about potential replacements, not replacements, but additional 10s later in this video. But Jorrel Hatto, I think, would be a good signing for Chelsea. The question is, how much would it cost? And isn't this maybe just another one of those Renato Vega-like signings? Do we really need more players like that in 6 months' time are going to leave? I don't want to see that happen again. Let's move now. Chelsea are said to be surprised by Gittens' negotiations. They assumed sooner or later BVB would accommodate them because they needed the funds and Gittens wanted to play for Chelsea. I think when it comes to Jamie Gittens, Dortmund were basically just hoping that with Chelsea's history of paying big fees, we were going to look at him and be like, we'll do it again. Don't you worry about it. We want the player. The player wants us. He's agreed a 7-year deal. Of course we're going to sign him. Now it's not happened. The big question will be, if Chelsea do stay on Gittens, which, look, I think we will. I don't see us going and breaking the wage structure for anyone else. I don't see Rodrigo. I don't see Nico Williams. I'm sorry. I know that it's what you all want to hear. But come on. The reality is very different. And we're going to find out why later on in this video. We're steamrolling through it today. Mamadou Sarr has taken the number 19 shirt. He's 19 years old. I don't know what it is about centre-backs and defenders taking high numbers, but it just seems a little bit weird for me. Jamie Gittens can now not play for Chelsea at the Club World Cup. This is if we do sign him after the 16th of June reopening of the window. Despite this, talks expected to continue to try and agree a fee. Wesley Fofana is also not going to be in Chelsea's Club World Cup squad. Just a little bit on this one today. I wanted to steamroll through the news today because there's just been so many different avenues and it does get confusing and I just want to keep it simple. But Wesley Fofana, I think this is a good option. I don't want to see him rushing back again. We saw it last time where Maresca said he wasn't going to be ready. Fofana was like, no, I'm ready. I'm coming back. And it just didn't work out. So this time, Wesley Fofana, I'm hoping, give him the summer, make him recover properly, keep him on individual training. You know when players go on all these camps to get their fitness up, ready for pre-season? I really hope that Wesley Fofana takes all of this seriously come the summer. So, we spoke about it in yesterday's collab video with Eunice. If you didn't see yesterday's second video, it was uploaded a little bit later, but it was a half an hour conversation with Eunice talking about transfers for this summer and the Club World Cup squad. And this is the squad that Chelsea have taken. 4 keepers: Sanchez, Jorgensen, Penders, and Slanina. Defenders, we got 10. Cucurella, Tosin, Badiashile, Colwill, Mamadou Sarr, Chalobah, James, Gusto, and Sormino in the squad. And at Champong, 6 midfielders: Fernandez, Caicedo, Esugo, Santos, Dewsbury Hall, and Lavia. That is stacked. Forwards: Delap, Neto, Palmer, Madueke, Jackson, Nkunku, George, and Mark Guiu. So totals, let's add those up. That's 28. And it could have been a 35-man squad. There is one player here in the defenders. Again, as we mentioned, Cucurella playing lots of football. Ish Samuel-Smith is a left-back. He's a young left-back. Chelsea signed him, I think, from Everton for about £4 million. a few years ago. And he's been very impressive in the development squads at Chelsea. And the fact that he's not in this squad is a little bit disappointing for me, because I believed that the club had a bright future lined up for him. And I think when you look at the fact that there is still 7 spaces that could have been available, and the players have got so much football to look forward to next season as well, I think anybody that could have been considered that hasn't been is either definitely leaving the club on loan or probably going to be sold. And I think what we're seeing in this early stages here with Club World Cup squad registrations and things, I think it's very clear the players that don't have a future at Chelsea. So we better get on with it, because if it is the case this summer, which I wouldn't be surprised, that we've got to get players out of the door before we bring them in, then we better get a flipping move on and have people working on this despite the boys playing football at the bloody Club World Cup. We move. Petrovic wants to be guaranteed starter, something Chelsea cannot offer. Petrovic is going to try and find a new club. So, as I said in the video with Eunice yesterday, Petrovic was the one that said he didn't want to go to the Club World Cup. Now, I would probably be in the same boat as him. If I was told that I'm going on loan to Strasbourg because I was going to prove myself there so that I could come back to Chelsea to fulfill his dream of being Chelsea's number 1. Petrovic goes, has a brilliant season, does everything he could have done to at least be given a chance, and the first thing the club do within a day of the transfer window opening is go and try and sign a world-class keeper. So I am not surprised, and I don't hold it against Petrovic whatsoever, that he's trying to find another club, that he doesn't want to be in Chelsea's Club World Cup squad. So now it looks even worse, in my opinion, on the sporting directors, because we've gone for that keeper. We're not going to go for him again unless Milan drop the price. We didn't sign him. So now we went from a position where we could have had Maignan 1, Petrovic 2, or one of them 1 and someone else 2, to having none of them. I think that's a really poor position for Chelsea to be in. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea revisit the Maignan deal later in the window. That was from Matt Law. I think, look, to be fair, if we go into the new season with Sanchez and Jorgensen, I think Chelsea, we're not serious, man. Honestly, if you genuinely believe Robert Sanchez had a good end to the season, yes, he did. But you cannot just disregard how average at best he was throughout the rest of it. And as much as, look, I want to back Sanchez, I do. I want to believe that the form that we saw in the last, 6 weeks of the season, I want to believe that that can be the average. That can be the baseline standard. But every other example of him as a goalie at Chelsea, even last pre-season, I was watching him like, this is the first time I've seen you live, mate. And I'm like, I think it's worse when you see it live sometimes. So it is what it is. Let's just wait and see what happens here. I think Chelsea should go back in the market for Mike Maignan. He wants to come. I don't think AC Milan can hold on to him. Can they? Really? Let's see. Oh, buckle in. Chelsea have fallen in love with Jesus Rodriguez and are hopeful of landing the winger this summer. Fans will be able to see his development in real time at the Under-21 Euros this summer. Why? Why are we doing this? We've already got another young winger coming in next season, Giovanni Quenda, who, by the way, I'm watching Quenda a lot when he's playing international football. This guy's a real deal. I think Quenda is going to be an excellent acquisition for Chelsea. But we don't need more developmental wingers. We've got Tyreek George at the club already. Go and get us a proven left winger. Go and get us someone that elevates us, because we're a Champions League club now. We're not playing these dead-end, deadwood games on Thursday nights where even if we fielded a flipping 15-year-old, we're still going to win. We're playing against elite boys in the Champions League. Get me Champions League players, not these guys that I've never flipping heard of before. Jesus Rodriguez, look, he might be a decent footballer, but come on, man. This is not the level that we should be looking at. But unfortunately, it is the level that we're talking about here today. Here is the latest on Hugo Ekitike from Bild. Frankfurt have agreed to leave Ekitike alone on his vacations until he reaches a personal terms agreement with a club. Ekitike can imagine playing for Chelsea, but Liverpool could come in hot if they sell Núñez. This summer, what you're seeing from Liverpool is a serious club that acknowledge that the rest of the Premier League this summer are going to be going on a spending spree. Newcastle have got funds available. Arsenal are tired of finishing second and they want to go and try and win the flipping thing finally. Man City, they don't settle for third. They've gone out and spent a flipping ton of money. So Liverpool, what they've done is they've also addressed this. And they've gone and broken the bank to sign Florian Wirtz, who's a world-class, elite-level player. So, of course, if Darwin Núñez goes, then Ekitike is going to be looking at Liverpool and thinking, that's where I want to be. Because look at the other players that they've bought in during this window. And unfortunately, we can't say the same right now about Chelsea, but some good signings. Don't get me wrong, good players have come in. We're going to talk about some more of those in a little moment. But Ekitike, he's on vacation at the moment. Chelsea are obviously now going to be focusing on the Club World Cup, but will we go back in when Frankfurt's price is absolutely astounding? I'm not sure if we should, but let's move now into Maresca's comments. He's been speaking. We're a year ahead of schedule with Champions League qualification, as the club had asked me to achieve that in the space of 2 seasons. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. This should not be the mentality that we're talking about. We should be talking about, all right, maybe we are ahead of schedule. Celebrate it. Enjoy it. But then act like we're a Champions League club. Right now, I can see that Delap is a really good signing. I think I'm really excited about Delap. I think the midfield is stacked. But when we're talking about, is it going to be Delap and Jackson? I don't think that can get you challenging for a Premier League. I just can't right now say that I'm confident that that is a title challenging strike force. Let alone the fact that still right now we've got a lot of business to get done in the attacking forward areas. So, what else did Enzo Maresca have to say? I do agree with this. Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo were paid a lot, but no one remembers their price due to how much they grew up. Before, a lot was spent on people over 30 who had already given their best. This is basically Maresca just trying to say, we're only going to sign youngsters because we signed a couple of Koulibalys and Sterlings and they were shit, so we're not going to be doing that anymore. Just don't buy the bad ones. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to buy Koulibalys and Sterling. Sterling was already finished when Chelsea bought him. You could just buy a couple of 25, 26, 27-year-olds. You know, like your Leaos of this world, your Rodrigos, your Nico Williams, who's also very young, but wages are really high. Your Osimhens, your Gyökeres's, these proven goal scorers. But no, we're scarred from Koulibaly. We're scarred from Raheem Sterling. But anyway, Chelsea chose me because they had the idea I could grow with the team. Because I did well previously, and because I came from Guardiola's School of Football. Wow, Mr. Enzo Maresca. Chelsea chose you because you could grow with this team. And I tell you what, you are growing with this team. And as much as all of the noise in the last couple of days, I'm not going to lie, I've been very disappointed. I've been upset. I've been annoyed that Chelsea and the sporting directors don't see the same opportunity that I see. And it's, I'm not the one making the decisions at the club, but I can certainly give my opinions on it. But if there's one person here that I am now going to be backing even more, it's Enzo Maresca. Because you cannot sit here, no one can tell me that Maresca doesn't want an improved keeper on Sanchez and Jorgensen. It's so obvious. So obvious. So if the club aren't going to back Maresca, then I think we should be backing him right now, because he did achieve things for us last season, got us that trophy, got us back into the Champions League, and it is not his fault that he's not being backed. The only thing I would say is if he was really harsh and stern with it and be like, look, if you want me to get this team further, if you want me to even finish in the top 4 again next season, because Maresca understands how all of the other clubs are also improving. If you want this, you've got to get me better players. It's as simple as that. That's what I would love Maresca to be doing behind the scenes, but I'm not sure that is going to be the case. So, This has been a bumper video so far. If you enjoyed it, smack a like, subscribe. We are not done yet. We move now. This is Ben Jacobs on this podcast, The Kings of the Bridge, on Playback. I don't think Chelsea will buy two wingers this summer, as they have Quenda coming and they view him as a left winger. So, if that's the case, then we are going to be banking on Neto or Madueke being on the left with maybe a Gittens if we sign him. Tyreek George is an option too. And I just think Chelsea here could end up very, very thin on that left wing when it comes to Champions League and Premier League quality. So if Gittens is the guy and then we're waiting for Quenda next year, is that going to be enough? Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments down below. Chelsea will be assessing in the Club World Cup how Delap and Jackson push each other. Then they'll decide if they need another striker or someone more in the Nkunku mould, where the interest in a Morgan Rogers comes in. So, I think Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson, this is my prediction. I think Liam Delap is going to hit the ground running. I am really excited for Liam Delap, and I think we're going to see him against LAFC on Monday. I really hope that Delap can show us straight away what he can bring to this Chelsea team. Nicholas Jackson, to be fair to him, he was really good for Senegal against England the other night. England were woeful, don't get me wrong. But Jackson looked good. And I still think there's a good player in Nicholas Jackson. I just think Chelsea fans, myself, I'm speaking for myself here, I'm so frustrated that he's not improved. I'm so frustrated that the amount of chances that he misses, it's just too much. We've addressed it with Delap, but again, Delap is 22. There is absolutely no guarantees that in the Champions League, remember he's playing for Ipswich, he just got relegated. The Champions League is a different ball game, and I think Chelsea should be pushing to at least be in a title race. So we will see early doors here in this Club World Cup, at least us fans, right? We will be able to see quite quickly if this is going to be enough in the front line. But Morgan Rogers, I've spoken about him here on GBFC. I think Morgan Rogers would be an absolutely unbelievable signing for Chelsea. When we think about how many games the players played last season, how many we're going to have to play again next year. Remember the Champions League format, there's 2 extra group games again this coming season. We need somebody that can step in for Cole Palmer. Morgan Rogers, I think, is far too good of a player to be playing bit part minutes. But I think absolutely, if there is an opportunity there to get Morgan Rogers at Chelsea, you absolutely have to. I don't think he's an option as a striker. I think we've seen it on the international stage. I don't think he can do that role. But in terms of the quality and depth that you would get by having Morgan Rogers in a Chelsea team, honestly, I would be absolutely all over this one. And Ben Jacobs has also spoken here about the faith that Enzo Maresca has in Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea still assessing what to do with the striker situation because Maresca has big faith in Nicholas Jackson. This is again Ben Jacobs speaking on Playback via Kings of the Bridge. There's Liam Delap. This geezer, I am very excited for him. A lot of people are confused and think there's this guarantee that some big expensive number 9 is coming in after Liam Delap, when it was Delap who was the priority target, which is also why he's been given the number 9 shirt too. If another one comes in, you'd think Jackson's future will come into question, who Maresca's got big faith in, or they'd be overstocking, which could be dangerous. This is the reality here. I think Liam Delap will be the top dog striker that we bring in. Whether you think he's top dog or not, I'm going to wait and just let him play his football because I really hope that he can be. And I've got a sneak feeling that he will be. So if we do bring in another striker, it might mean that Jackson goes because this whole overstocking thing is true. Mark Hughes also at the club, but again, he's not Champions League ready. He's not Premier League ready yet. So I think Chelsea do probably need another one, but it looks as though this summer the club are looking at it in a different way. And I'm kind of sad about that. I'm not going to lie. But again, I want to see what we do. I don't want to be getting too worked up about things right now because the window, we've still got 2 whole flipping months, over 2 months. We've got the half of June, all of July, all of August. And I think the Club World Cup, as Eunice and I were talking about in the episode that we uploaded last night, I think Chelsea are going to use this to see where we are. If we get through the group stage, we're going to be playing against some serious teams. Maybe Boca Juniors, maybe Benfica, Bayern Munich, PSG. All of these clubs will test us. All of these clubs will tell us about our level when we go into the Champions League this season. And as I've said throughout this video, we've talked about Maresca, we've spoken about his comments. I hope Maresca can be brutal and say to the ownership and the sporting directors, look, if we're getting wiped across the park by some of these bigger sides in this competition, we need to invest. We cannot just look at it this summer and be like, oh, we're doing really well with PSR, which, by the way, we are. We're in a great, healthy financial position, apparently, according to PSR, not necessarily with other elements of the club. But let's focus on what we have got in front of us. We have got the first game on Monday, and the window reopens again. Let's see what we prioritize. Let's see what players we go in for. I want to say a big shout out to those of you that have made it here to the end of this video. This has been a much longer news video than we normally go with, and I just decided because there's been just so much noise recently, I was just going to use one aggregated source here, CFC Pice's Twitter, and go through some of the quotes from various journalists from one place. So if you did enjoy it like this and not just the random screenshots on the screen at times, then let me know in the comments down below. And all the love on the channel recently has been absolutely mad. And I'm going to be on the road a little bit for the next couple of days, but there's still going to hopefully be at least this 7 a.m. video every day. And the second video of the day, also, if there is stuff to discuss, I really want to go into a bit more detail about Liam Delap. I'm excited for him. I'll see you guys in the next video. Come on, you Blues.